Well, I want to talk to you again about EV cars. And, well, a lot of you have said that EV cars uh, don't burst into flame as often as ICE engine cars, that's internal combustion engine cars. But with an electric car, when that catches fire, you can't just put it out. It will take several hours of cooling, boundary cooling, and all the resources that will go into keeping that fire safe until it's extinguished itself. It won't go out on its own. So that was the point I'm making. Yes, they do burst into flames, but they are harder to extinguish than a normal ICE car. And also, there's a cargo ship that's come from Korea. It's got 800 tons of lithium batteries destined for the American market, and it's currently off Alaska, and it's on fire. The crew have had to use its firefighting equipment. I don't know. The reports are that they put in CO2 into the cargo hold. Now, my experience on cargo ships is that they don't normally put CO2 into the cargo space simply because the spaces are so big. What they would do is probably just seal it up and hope for the best. But with a lithium polymer battery, they produce their own oxygen, so you can't put them out by dousing it in water. There's even pictures on the internet of a Tesla underwater, still on fire. Yeah. And one of the other things that's coming out now is that buildings are collapsing under the weight of these EV cars. The standard multi-storey car parks weren't designed for the weight of electric vehicles. So around the world, the internet is showing us pictures of collapsed car parks. So that's another worry about EV cars. I'm really not in favour of electric vehicles at the moment. Yes, I was a climate alarmist, and I was the person that said, nothing will happen until polar bears walk down the high street. Well, unfortunately, I've done a bit of study, and I've found out that climate crisis isn't the what's going on. The climate crisis is a scam at the moment. Not only does EV batteries take a phenomenal amount of resources to produce them, they're also very limited in what you can do after they've finished their useful life. You can't just recycle them. And also what we're finding out now is there's a guy on YouTube that's saying that these EV trucks, these big trucks that are battery powered, they can't do the runs that they could do in it with a diesel engine. They might get 6 runs a day out of their lorries. Not with an EV battery in it. You won't. They say you're lucky to get 2 runs, simply because you've got to stop and recharge the battery for so long. So, yeah, it's going to push prices up. Delivery prices will go through the roof because you've got to employ someone to look after the vehicle while it's charging. So that's what's going to cost us the big bucks. And of course, you can only get, say, even if it's half true, and you can get half the amount of deliveries you could do with a standard engine, it's still not economical. It's not as green as we're led to believe, is it? Anyway, so that's it then, Levy. In my opinions, the technology isn't out there to run electric vehicles. Now, in my youth, a few years back, I used to fly radio-controlled helicopters, and one of the things that I discovered was that I had a battery-powered one, and a friend of mine had a internal combustion-powered helicopter, both the same design, same blade length, boom length, everything was the same. But mine was tremendously light in the air. It felt nimble and responsive and quick. But the one that would run on nitromethane fuel was absolutely slow compared. The engine was tuned. I tuned the engine for his one, governor on it, everything else, and it was running as best we could get it, but it just felt slow. When I was right control gear, Now, it just ran slow. But having said that, the EV one was the best because it was so fast. It was just so responsive. The power you got from that engine. But on the downside, I could only run that helicopter for 5 minutes before the battery went flat. I could have probably pushed it to 6 minutes, but you don't want to flatten one of these lithium polymer batteries because they tend to burst into flames if you over discharge them. So I would keep it running for 5 minutes. But with the petrol engine, it would run for a good 15 minutes out there doing exactly the same things that I was doing with the electric one, all but a bit slower. So, yeah, electric is the way to go for power, but it's not as efficient as it used to be. I don't know what's going to happen with these new salt batteries that are coming out. They're even talking about diamond batteries and all sorts of other stuff. Like they're even talking about using carbon as well. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, with the salt batteries, we've got a lot of salt on this planet. Even if you just go to Gibraltar, where they have these salt mines that are so deep, there's a lot of salt out there. So, yeah, hopefully we'll get somewhere because oil will run out at the end of whenever it's going to run out. It can't go on forever. So we'll see. Anyway, I've rambled on, but yeah, that's my thought. EV batteries not really suitable yet because you just can't get the runtime out of them. Anyway, that's enough. See you. Bye then.